Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video. Going to have a look at the weather next week's 10 days in today's first video, and then we'll have a look at the CFSV2, which will take us through for next month, which takes us through to the middle part of January. So quite a bit to cram in. I'll get on that in a moment. And then tonight we've got the 24th and penultimate Christmas update coming up. Just one more to do after tonight. So have a full rundown on the whole of Christmas period, including the storms, Storm Barbara that we've got heading in on Friday into Christmas Eve, and then we'll go up beyond that through Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and the days afterwards, right way up towards and beyond the New Year. So come back to that tonight to detail Christmas outlook. Before we get on with that, though, just say about the ads. There's links to articles on all pages. Have a browse through widgets and click through links. If there's any articles that you want to see how we space website, thanks very much to Matt. There's also video ads on most pages, which open out content when you watch them, they close back up again, and it does help to pay for gasweathervids.com. I'm still linking to the Christmas shop, but I think I'll stop talking about it now because it's so close to Christmas. It's probably going to be late for anybody to do Christmas shopping via gasweathervids at Amazon, but the link is still there underneath the video. So if you want to do Christmas shopping or do any shopping at Amazon, you certainly can do it via gasweathervids. Big thanks to everybody for all of their things that they brought via the Christmas shop at Amazon. Right, we'll get on with the video, and we'll start off with the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles. Next 2 weeks today. These are for the upper atmosphere, of course, upper air temperatures. Red line here is a 30-year temperature average. So we're going to be about average, really going through towards Christmas Day. This is Christmas Day just here, 25th of December, when we get quite a big ramp up in the temperatures. Very briefly, a big warm sector will be crashing through early on Christmas Day, followed by quite a plunge down into a bit of a colder sector there. That all looks very zonal really through to Christmas. So we've got warmer sectors and colder sectors alternating with one another. When you average it all out, we normally come out colder than average, warmer than average, I should say, in this sort of pattern. And the reason is that although the colder sectors and warmer sectors come through evenly, when you're in a colder sector, it's not that cold really, because the air is quite unstable. There's a lot of wind, probably showers coming through, and that holds the temperatures up, particularly at night, stops them from dipping down into frost levels. If you get this in summer, it's completely the opposite. Some of this would be a cold signal, or something very cool signal for months like July and August. Get zonality in the summer, then you'll often come out potentially quite significantly colder than average. But in winter it's different. In winter you're reliant on frost to get particularly cold weather, and you don't get frost very often when you're in a zonal pattern. So averaging it out, though it looks even, will probably be milder than average. We go through towards the end of the month and into January, which is this part of the graph just here, and the idea is to keep things above average really in terms of the temperatures, although there are a few colder, colder outliers appearing there as we're going through the first week of January. We had this running up towards Christmas, didn't we? But we had the general ensemble mean and the trend of the model looking quite mild, but there were colder outliers, and they didn't really come to anything. They didn't come to anything at all running up towards Christmas. Maybe we'll have another go at getting some blocking in place and bringing winds down from the north or the east as we go through into early January. But at the moment, I certainly wouldn't want to be putting any money on that outcome. I suspect we might go back to high pressure. Now, we looked at these charts the other day, and they look very wet. We are going to have a wetter spell starting in about a day or so's time. It's already starting in the north, actually, but for the south, this will be it'll be turning wetter from around Thursday onwards. When we go through the Christmas, it does look, through Christmas period, it does look quite unsettled then. But actually, it's not looking all that wet, really. As we go through to the end of December into January, not really many rainfall spikes coming through. And I think we'll probably break out of this unsettled weather quite quickly after Christmas. We're getting this burst of wind and rain round Christmas, but I think just after Christmas we'll probably break out of it and go back to high pressure. I'm not seeing a very prolonged spell of stormy conditions at all. I think we will go back to high pressure, but of course that doesn't necessarily mean that we'll get the high pressure in the right position to be producing particularly cold weather. This is temperature anomaly for next week. This takes us from the 28th through Sorry, this takes us from the 20th through to the 28th of December. And we generally come out milder than average in the west of Europe, and significantly warmer than average across Scandinavia. As has been the case throughout December, the cold temperature anomalies are in the southeast, so from the Balkans down towards Greece and then over towards Turkey. That's where you find temperatures coming out colder than average, with the air plunging out of Russia down into the southeast of Europe, producing the cold weather there, and that leaves most of Europe actually under milder conditions. This is the precipitation anomaly going from the 20th through 28th of December. And the north, it is wetter than average. So Scotland going to have a wetter than average week. But for much of England and Wales, still coming out a little bit drier than average, actually. And most parts of Europe actually drier than average as well. So it does imply that high pressure, even when it's turning stormy over Christmas, high pressure is not going to be all that far away. And I think it will start to get back in as we go beyond Christmas. In America, things are turning warmer there, so it's been really cold over the past week, and that's helped to power up the jet stream a little bit across the Atlantic, or it will be helping to power up the jet stream across the Atlantic. But temperature only from the 20th through the 28th of December actually looking warmer than average through most parts of the state. Still a bit cold on average up in the Pacific Northwest, but most places, particularly the Midwest and through into the East, coming out on the milder side of average. So I think there's going to be a bit of a Christmas fall taking place there in America. Whether that is good news for us in terms of trying to get some colder weather, have to wait and see. You can get it cold on both sides of the Atlantic, but you need the right amount of blocking in the right position to be able to do that. Well, this is how we look at 96 hours on the GFS model. This is for midnight on Christmas Eve. This is Storm Barbara just here. It's the named storm from the UK Met Office. She's to the north of Scotland at midnight on Christmas Eve, bringing gale force winds across the northern part of the country, possibly severe gales to the far north of Scotland. I'll have more detail about this when I do a Christmas update tonight. This Christmas Day, another area of low pressure is rattling, so Barbara's gone off up towards Norway, and another low pressure coming in. I don't know whether this will be named, it possibly won't be, but it's bringing a big warm sector in with it, this area of low pressure, so that's lifting the temperatures up. Also very windy, and there's quite a bit of rain moving through. This is midnight on Boxing Day. So Barbara's disappeared. That low pressure that's with us on Christmas Day is somewhere over Sweden. Very fast moving weather systems these, and we're left in a cooler or colder sector of air with the wind coming in from the northwest. Notice high pressure is beginning to get itself going again down to the southwest of the country, and as we run beyond Christmas, takes up to 27th of December, which is holiday, of course, holiday Tuesday, we find high pressure developing to the south and beginning to push northward. So it looks quite mild and unsettled for Scotland. This could be a bit colder though for England and Wales, possibly with some frost. And then that high pressure really starts to take over as we run up towards the new year. Have the high pressure just sitting to the southeast of the country. Again, very mild air is coming around the top of that high pressure, affecting Scotland and Northern Ireland. A bit of a long effect southwesterly there. For England and Wales, the position of this high pressure is going to be critical. It could be very mild and spring-like, but if we start to get fog and frost under this high pressure, then obviously that will limit the temperatures. We go up towards the new year, then this takes us to day 10, which is Friday, 30th of December, by which time we're all back into a milder southwesterly flow again. So any frost that does develop, let's say around the 27th, 28th, 29th, probably doesn't last up towards the new year period. Basically, the idea is still that high pressure is there through most parts of Europe, but low pressure is out to the northwest, and the air is pulling up from the Atlantic. Now, we are seeing a few signs within the extended range of the GFS. This high pressure might start to build eventually to the northwest. So if I just skip you through to 384 hours away, we see it's a bit of a different story, man. That high pressure is centred over the UK and possibly even ever so slightly to the west of us. So it wouldn't take much there to turn the winds into the north. Quite a cold trough coming down into Scandinavia as well. So perhaps things turning a little bit colder as we get through the first week of January. Have to wait and see. ECWF looks very similar, so there's the stormy conditions that we have to start with on Christmas Eve. They're rattling through very quickly. Christmas Day, we're bringing up a big warm sector there, so it'll be a very mild start to Christmas Day, probably turning colder in the north later. Boxing Day, bringing cooler air down from the north and the west. Showers might turn a bit wintry at that point in the north. This is Holiday Tuesday, 27th of December, where high pressure is building in from the south. The Eastern UF makes more of this high pressure than the GFS. That's high pressure dominating through all parts of the country on Wednesday 28th of December. I think that would be quite cold as well under that high. I think we'd certainly have night frost and fog with that, and that would limit the temperatures by day as well. It's much further north than the GFS has it. As we go through to Thursday 29th and then on into day 10, Friday 30th of December, that high pressure is still very, very dominant, sitting just to our east of the country. Scotland and Northern Ireland does look a little bit milder there, bringing this southwesterly flow up. But for England and Wales, I suspect that will be quite cold and frosty. So a fairly cold post-Christmas with the E70UF, less so on the GFS. Finally, just have a look at CFSV2 for the next month. It's going to take us into the middle part of January. So first, starting off with the coming week, the 20th through to 26th of December. This is the 500 millibar height anomaly for this week. Red extrapolates high pressure, blue to low pressure. So through the Christmas week, we've got the low pressure out in the Atlantic to the northwest, high pressure to the east and the south of the country, and bringing the flow through like that. So it looks mild and Atlantic driven running up towards Christmas. This is week 2, going from the 27th through to 27th of December through the 2nd of January. And that ridge then is to the southeast. The low pressure push more towards the northwest, which leaves us doing something like that with the jet stream. And for England and Wales, that could be a bit colder as we start to get an inversion, perhaps, from off the continent. That's where it's colder on the ground as opposed to in the upper air. And then we move through to week 3, which is the 3rd through to the 9th of January. And what happens is that the high pressure starts to centre more up towards Scandinavia, but it's also ridging out towards the west of us. So this is very close to bringing in cold air from the east, but actually the coldest of the air is again plunging down into southeastern Europe with this trough just here. But it is closer to starting to pull in colder air from the east. And then week 4, which is the 10th through to 16th of January, so going into the middle of next month, we find the heights still there over Scandinavia and beginning to go to the west of the UK as well. Again, we've got this trough in the southeast. That's where most of the cold air is going, but this could be starting to funnel some colder air through Central Europe and possibly getting it back into the west. Really, you would want to get proper cold air through the west of Europe. You would want to see this red area going up here. So place a high pressure over Greenland, and you place high pressure over there over Greenland, and then you will really pull down the cold air into Central and Western Europe. As it is, this implies that still the southeast of Europe is getting the coldest of the weather through to the middle part of January. So I think we're going to have quite a bit of high pressure, although we are heading for this stormier spell around Christmas. I don't think it's going to last all that long. I think very quickly we'll find our way back to high pressure. And it's just going to be a case of waiting to see where that high pressure goes as we get through into the start of January. Will it go north, head towards Greenland, Iceland or Scandinavia? If it does, we could turn things significantly colder. But if that high pressure just sticks around Central and Western Europe, then the cold air is going to be funneled down into the southeast of Europe as it has been through December. And we won't be that cold, although, of course, under high pressure in the middle of winter, frost and fog is our concern. So, stormy Christmas, high pressure comes back after Christmas, I would have thought, and then into the new year, it'll be a case of where is that high pressure going. Right, come back later on for the 24th Christmas update, where I'll have a full rundown, starting from Friday and Christmas Eve, and going right the way through to beyond the new year. Come back for about around 7 o'clock tonight. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.